whatever the pressure on me and others, whatever the noise, I'm going to act in the British national interest in all the decisions that I make. And that's why I've been absolutely clear that this is not our war, and we're not going to get dragged into it.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer now singing a different tune, telling President Trump in a phone call yesterday he's, quote, ready to support a U.S. Iran peace deal. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister receiving letters of resignation from both his Defense Secretary and Armed Forces Minister over concerns the nation isn't properly defending itself. Former Trump State Department Senior Advisor Christian Whiton joins us now. Great to see you, Christian. Explain to us what is this about face from Keir Starmer all about?
Well, Starmer's in crisis. He has been for some time. He won a resounding mandate 2 years ago. It's a 5-year mandate, but he's about to be ousted by his own party. He's an incredibly unpopular politician. The Labour Party is now in third place before Reform UK, which is sort of a MAGA-like party that came out of Brexit in the UK, and the traditional Tories. One of his buddies in cabinet just bailed out. He's going to lose a by-election this week in which the person likely to be elected wants to challenge him for the premiership. So amid this flailing, Starmer is looking for some sort of victory. I'm not sure what President Trump actually wants, because Starmer is weak. He was not just failing to support the United States, this fundamentally important ally to Britain, but actually actively campaigned against Trump's decision to pursue military force against Iran. So a bit of a mixed situation.
Yeah. So was it more the fact that Keir Starmer had managed to create distance between the U.S. and the U.K., or was it something specific about this action in Iran that caused these headaches for Keir Starmer?
It's a broad thing, and it's what's driving populist forces across the continent. If there were free and fair elections were held today, the governments of France, Germany, and Britain would fall and be replaced by right-leaning MAGA-like political parties. And that's something to keep in mind as the president goes to the G7 summit. The G7 summit, except for the United States, is a snapshot of what mattered economically in the late 1970s, not what matters today. And these pro-immigration, soft on jihad, and frankly anti-American politicians are just out of popularity.
Yeah, so interesting. And another area where President Trump on the world stage has been proven right is when he started talking back 8 years ago, talking about the need to get NATO off of being completely funded by the United States and forcing countries like the UK to step up and start paying their fair share for protecting their own homeland. And obviously, Keir Starmer is facing that with a couple of his own secretaries bailing on him, saying that the UK is actually failing its obligations to NATO.
Right. So when we have to fight Iran, NATO isn't with us. In fact, they sometimes campaign against us. Spain, Italy, those governments actively against us. Britain refused to let us use our bases except under certain circumstances. If we have to fight China, God forbid, there are two countries we can rely upon, Japan and the Philippines. Now look at what Britain did with Iran. So what if we have to fight with China? We know they're not going to help us, not in any serious way.
Right.
They may actually campaign against us. So it shows that Trump really isn't NATO's best friend. He's NATO's only friend. He's tried to save this alliance, and they've really jumped off the cliff themselves with this. The real people who matter are in the Middle East, North Asia, and in the United States.
Do you expect, we're just showing those numbers of UK's failure to actually cough up for its own self-defense. Do you expect, compared to other countries, do you expect the political changes in the UK to force the UK government to actually step up and start paying for their own defense?
I think they'll spend a little bit more, but Labour still has 3 years about to run on its mandate. I think Starmer gets pushed out, but he's not going to be replaced by someone who can patch up, restore a special relationship with the United States that isn't special anymore. You have countries like Poland stepping up and spending more because of the Russia threat, but everyone else has just talked. Germany said they were going to do $100 billion and then a larger number, and that just hasn't materialized. These people aren't serious. Europe is a great place for vacations, but not for shaping the future.
Christian Whiton, I always appreciate your wisdom and your knowledge on these things. Great to see you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.